Hey everyone, in today's video we are going to be testing and reviewing one of the brand new Hourglass Ambient Lighting palettes. I picked up the Evil Eye palette, which is this beauty right here. I actually customized this, so although it's the Evil Eye palette, I decided to get it in the dragon case because, I mean, look at this. It's absolutely stunning. This is my first ever ambient lighting palette, and if you are interested in seeing what I made of my very first experience of this, well then please do keep on watching. I wanted to get this review out now for you because I know that it is about to hit the main retailers, so I'm assuming they will sell in Sephora US. I know they will definitely be coming to Cult Beauty in the UK. Before you go out and you splurge, I want to tell you whether I think this palette is actually worth it. So as I said in the intro, this looks like the Dragon palette, but it is actually the Evil Eye palette. This is aimed at people with a light to medium skin tone, which I am. I'm very, very light in the winter, but I go quite dark in the summer. So this palette is £90, $90 or €100. I'm going to be honest with you, I picked up this palette as a birthday gift to myself. I didn't get it specifically for the channel. Didn't want to buy it just to put out content. I wanted to really experience it and then share it with you. So why have I never picked up one of these before? Well, I think the main reason, and if you know anything about me, you'll know that I don't really use much powder. I don't really use powder products. I prefer liquids and creams on my more mature skin. I really did struggle to decide whether to pick up the Dragon palette or this, the Evil Eye, and I think what drew me to this is the fact that there are 3 different blushes in here. I'm sure that you have already watched lots of videos where your favorite content creators have bought all 3 palettes and have compared them for you. But I'm going to do one deep dive on this one. So let's have a look first of all what we have in here. So first of all, we have a finishing powder, we have a highlighter, we have 1, 2, 3 blushes, and we have a bronzer. For this review, I am going to apply each blush on my full face so you can see what they fully look like rather than just half and half. On the Hourglass website, it states that all of the palettes utilize their groundbreaking photoluminescent technology. The powders filter out harsh light and enhance skin in any type of light. I think it's also worth noting what these palettes are formulated without, and they're formulated without alcohol, BHA, parabens, talc, mineral oil, silicone, D5, sulfate, and gluten. And Hourglass will donate 5% of net profits from this collection to the Non-Rights Project, a US organisation which works to secure fundamental rights for animals, which I absolutely love. I have swatched all of these out in the daylight. I'm going to say that some of these are quite hard to see on my skin tone, especially on the inside of my arm. When you swatch them, they don't look super pigmented, but when they go onto the skin, they really are pigmented. So we're going to start with the first one, and I will circle on the screen which one I am swatching for you. So the first one is the finishing powder, and this is described as a soft light pale peach. You can barely see it on my skin tone because it pretty much is my skin tone. Then we're moving on to the second one, which is the rose gold highlight. This is their ambient strobe lighting powder. The third one is called Pink Fusion, which is a cool pink, and you'll be able to see the lovely marble finish on some of these shades in the pan. Next is a very interesting shade to me, another one that is very, very in tune with my skin tone. This is described as a warm apricot, very interesting blush shade, and it's called Oasis Glow. Next we have another blush which is called Vibrant Coral, and it's described as a true coral, which is so pretty. And last of all, we have the bronzer. Now this is called Natural Bronze, and it's described as a matte medium bronze. I can't figure out whether it is cool or neutral, or somewhere in between. Those swatches might not be the best, but I will include daylight swatches for you to have a look at now. Obviously my eyes are done. I have some foundation and concealer on but that's it. But I'm going in with a Real Techniques brush. I think this is a bronzer brush. I'm going to use this each time for the bronzer. So again, I have a light to medium skin tone. I have olive skin. So we're just going to go in on the cheek there. I think that even though it's quite a neutral, leaning cool bronzer, I think that because of some of the slight warm undertones in my skin, it can pull the bronzer a little bit warmer. So very easy to apply, gorgeous. Some of you might be wondering why I don't really use powder products. And the simple answer is that I don't feel like powder products flatter my mature skin as much as what liquids and creams do. Liquids and creams provide me with that hydration that powders don't give me. So I think you can see there that it is allowing me to build up. You can see up here and around here I have some darkness. I have hyperpigmentation. I've only just discovered this after seeing my dermatologist. I am starting topical treatments for that, which I will keep you posted on, but I still like to bronze my forehead despite the hyperpigmentation being there. I can't not. And then what's left, I'll just pop down here. Really, really love the bronzer. I don't think I will miss the bronzer from the Dragon palette. This is a highlighter, so we're going to skip over to here, and this is Pink Fusion, which is a cool pink. Your brush will pick up a lot of product, and we don't want to be slapping that onto our cheeks. This is just a Real Techniques blush brush. I am going to apply more than what I usually would because I want you to see it. So it didn't come out nearly as scary, did it? So there is Pink Fusion with the bronzer. There is a sheen to it. There is definitely some sort of reflection from the blush. I want to dip into the finishing powder because this is probably the biggest surprise to me. I didn't think I would love this like I do. I'm going to dip into the finishing powder. Just take it under the eyes. This is one of the most gorgeous powders I've ever used. And from what I understand, they don't sell these separately. And I'm just dusting around, just around my nose. From what I have read, this finishing powder is the only repeat, so all of the other ones are new. I used this finishing powder yesterday under my eyes and I was absolutely blown away with the lack of creasing and drying with it. I don't love highlight these days just because they do enhance my texture a little bit and my pores, but I do think this one is really beautiful. It's important to note though that if you do have texture, you do have pores, any highlight is going to emphasize those. Highlight, no matter what is there, a highlighter is going to emphasize what's there. So I'm just taking this little setting brush by Real Techniques and I'm just going to tap lightly into the highlighter. I'm just going to brush it. There you go. And that's without. With. If you like highlighter, you're going to love this. And I actually think that it's not as emphasizing on the texture as what other highlighters are. You know that I don't reach for powder highlighters, but I would reach for this. It's absolutely gorgeous. I actually think the highlighter does elevate the blush. From someone who is a little bit scared of highlighter, I am a fan. So what do you think of Pink Fusion? I'm now going to run outside and take some footage of how my face is looking in the daylight so that you can see Pink Fusion and the highlight in all its glory before we move on to the next blush. going to take this makeup off now, and then we're going to dive into the second blush, which is the Apricot blush. I'm definitely excited to see what it looks like. We have reapplied, and we are now going to be moving on to an application with bronzer with this Apricot blush. This is the only one that I haven't tried on my skin yet, so we'll be doing that together. I am looking a little bit shiny now because I literally just applied my foundation. I'm just going to take a powder brush, and I'm going to dip into the finishing powder first this time, and I'm just going to take it just in this area. I've not touched my forehead. I don't need to reapply my forehead because I only have bronzer there. So just going to tap it and see how much it takes down the shine. That feels so good. Okay, what am I going to do when this powder runs out? How am I going to get another one? That is a lovely, lovely powder. It didn't dull my complexion, it just softened it. And while I'm here, I'll take a little bit just under the eyes, just because I have just freshly applied. It's really flattering. I didn't think I would like it under the eyes, but I really, really do. I'm going to apply bronzer again. So we'll just put a little bit on. We are going in with this blush here. This is Oasis Glow, which is described as a shimmering warm apricot. Definitely not something that I would ordinarily reach for in a blush. So I'm taking a clean blush brush, and this is as a Weaver Luxe Sheer Cheek brush. Okay, let's see how this works on my skin tone. This is the only one I haven't tried. It has a peachy gold glow. So that's with, and then without. That does not come out the same as what it does in the pan, I don't think. Or does it? I don't know. Oh wow, that is pretty. That is really pretty. It's much glowier than Pink Fusion, I would say. And I would actually say you don't need a highlighter with this. So because of that, I'm not going to pop the highlighter on over the top. I just want you to see it for what it is, because it's such a unique blush, and because it's probably the most unique blush in this palette. And I think this would inevitably come out differently on different skin tones. Okay, I'm going to run out and I'm going to take some footage in the daylight for you. So I'm going to insert that footage for you now. Let's take this off, and then we will go in with the third and the final blush. Okay, makeup reapplied, and we are now going to go in with the third and the final blush. And this is described as a vibrant coral, probably the shade that terrifies me the most, but I do know that these are quite subtle. Don't think it's as scary as what it looks like it is in the pan. I'm going to do what I did last time, and I'm going to take the finishing powder first of all. Takes down the shine, but doesn't dull the skin, doesn't mattify it. That's really special. And again, doesn't dull the skin, just blurs and sets. That is a powder that I can get on board with, for sure. And I think if you had dry skin, I think you would like this finishing powder. I think you could use it quite comfortably. I am much drier under my eyes than I am anywhere else. It sets without drying. As we've done before, I'm going to tip into the bronzer. We're going to go in now with a clean brush. This is a Zoeva 106 brush. And we're going to dip into this lovely coral shade, this true coral. Definitely not as scary as what it looks like in the actual palette. that is the true coral. So I think because this doesn't have the same amount of shimmer as the Oasis Glow, I think we can go in with the highlighter over the top of this. We'll pop a little bit on and see how it looks. Gosh, I did not think I would like that highlight at all. I will run outside now and take some daylight footage, and I'll insert that for you now. So there we are, our deep dive into the Evil Eye palette, the palette that is recommended for light to medium skin tones, although I do think that with all of these palettes, there is something in there for everybody and you could make it work. I did to and fro between the Dragon and the Evil Eye, and I'm absolutely delighted with my purchase. The ideal for me would be to choose which finishing powder I want, which blush I want, which bronzer I want. I have to say that I am very intrigued by the finishing powders in the Dragon palette now, because this powder here, it's beautiful. I did not expect it to be so blurring, so flattering on my skin. I have never tried a powder like this, and why don't they sell it separately? Because what on earth am I going to do when this runs out? I'm delighted with the bronzer. I think it will come out differently on every skin tone, obviously. For me, I think there is part of it that does pull a little bit warm, even though I think looking at it in the pan, it's neutral, even leaning cool. But for me, it definitely pulls a little bit warm, which I'm delighted about. The blushes, another massive surprise for me. I expected to like Pink Fusion and the Coral. I expected to love those. Did I expect to love Oasis Glow, the apricot shade? Nope. There's something really unique and special about that blush. Is this palette enough to convert me back to using powder? The answer is a little bit more complicated than yes or no. If all powder formulas were like this, the answer would be yes. These are very special. They give people like me hope that I can still use powder without it looking cakey or heavy or dry. I'm definitely not going to be throwing out my liquid products. They will always be my number ones, but I think I will be a little bit more open to powder now moving forward. The most important question is this worth £90, $90, €100? And the basic answer, yes, I do think it's worth the money, because you are getting 3 blushes, 1 bronzer, 1 incredible finishing powder, formulas that are unique and ones that you will struggle to find with any other brand. So I do think it's worth the money, and I think the quality is incredible. But I want to say one thing really quickly, and this is not me lecturing you or patronizing you. It's taken me a long time to splurge on one of these items. I wanted it for me, a birthday present, a little treat. But this is the only year where I felt like the palettes have actually spoken to me. You should not break your back to get one of these palettes. Yes, they are limited edition. However, they bring out versions every single year, and there is not one makeup product or item on this earth that is worth going into debt for. If you have the money and you're ready to treat yourself, then go for it. I would highly recommend these. However, Christmas is coming. If you want to get one of these on one of your gift lists, even better. If you are getting it on a Christmas list, if someone is going to gift this to you, they need to purchase it now, because these will sell out. But please don't break your back to get one. It's really not worth it. They're lovely. I would recommend, but do it when the time is right. Let me know if you've picked one of these palettes up, if you're planning on picking one up, and which one is speaking to you. Or let me know if you've had any of these in the past. I would really love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.